Welcome to the Haunted Hangover podcast. I'm Louie, and as always, I'm joined by my bud Dave.
What's up?
So Dave.
So Bud.
Oh wow. So Bud, not so
There
Lou.
it is.
Okay. All right. There it is. There's the switcheroo. When it comes to Halloween and the Halloween season, one of our favorite things to discuss here at the Haunted Hangover podcast are Halloween commercials.
Absolutely.
And as crazy as it sounds, this will be the third time we're covering Halloween commercials.
I know. When I was taking my notes, I couldn't remember. I was like, because I'm pretty particular when I write my notes. So like, I had HH podcast, and I think this is like our 61st episode. 61st episode. And I'm like, is it more Halloween commercials or even more Halloween commercials? So I put even more, and I was right. So I'm glad. So yes, this is our third time doing this.
The way I'm gonna just kind of do things when it comes to us when we cover stuff, and it's like from the third on, it'll be like Halloween commercials, more Halloween commercials, then Halloween commercials part 3. So like kind of like Friday the 13th sequels, just adding a number, a Roman numeral next to the topic that we've covered several times. Now, since we've done this 3 times, this will be the third time. When it comes to Halloween commercials, we like to pick, for the most part, sometimes we'll pick exotic stuff. A little more in your case. You tend to go off and pick some interesting
That's my
picks.
nature.
That's just you. And we're gonna, not that we're switching things up, but we're gonna add horror-themed commercials to this, which it's Halloween adjacent, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So it's like, it's a way for us to kind of expand what we can pick, because there's but so many times you can do like a Halloween Dunkin' Donuts commercial. You know what I mean?
Listen, let's just be honest here. Halloween is horror adjacent, or I should say horror is, they both interchangeable. So, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let the listeners know that we're adding an element to, because one of my picks is technically not a Halloween commercial, but it's based on a horror character. So kind of falls into that realm. But we're not going to beat around the bush here. We're just going to dive right into some of our favorite Halloween commercials.
Boom.
Dave?
I'm going first.
We're going to let you go first, because apparently I always go first. So,
you do.
So Dave,
you do.
hit me and the listeners with your first pick.
I want my Whopper.
So my first pick is a Burger King commercial from 2017 called Scary Clown Night. I've never seen this commercial. Have you?
Neither have I. It was the first time for me.
Yeah. I was like, okay. I was very impressed by it. So
it's like a short film, dude.
Yeah, it really is. And they cram a lot into it, and it's very effective. Mm-hmm. We have a very to-the-point scenario of a young adult on a bike, moody scenery at every each way, a cool It Follows adjacent score, and a lot of clowns. One even resembling Ronald McDonald. I know I've used a scenario of kids riding their bikes on Halloween because it's such a comforting scenario for me. This actually looks like a would-be scene that plays in my head on a Halloween night. The commercial is super effective, atmospheric, and I like it's a newer commercial because we tend to pick older commercials.
Yeah.
This is on the newer side, and at the end of the commercial, it lets you know you have to come dressed as a clown on Halloween in select Burger King restaurants, and you will get a free Whopper. It's a pretty good deal.
That is a good deal.
And at the end, it gives you the location areas. It says locations near, and we have Miami, Boston, Los Angeles, Austin, and Salt Lake City. So I think the choosing of the areas are a little interesting. I'm surprised New York was not chosen for this.
They played us. No New York. That makes no sense.
But like I was saying, like even there's a lot of clowns in this commercial. All the clown makeup is like it's all like just there's no prosthetics, but they're all done really well.
Yeah,
and it's really effective. It's short. It is like a short film just crammed into a fucking minute and 20 seconds or however long it is. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I do like the jab at McDonald's there with the creepy
totally.
ass. He's riding a little bike, right, or something like that.
It's like I got out of a circus.
It's blatantly kind of shitting on McDonald's, I guess, kind of making Ronald McDonald
100% a slight at McDonald's.
Yeah, because if you think about it, the character of Ronald McDonald is pretty creepy in general. Like, when you look at those old McDonald's commercials, Ronald McDonald chilling with like his McDonaldland buddies, it's like a fever dream, dude. It's fucking creepy. Clowns in general are creepy. Now, I have two things I want to mention that pertain to your pick here. First, were you ever scared of clowns? I don't think we've ever talked about this on the show.
You know what's funny? I used to be afraid of them when I was a kid, and then my mom took me to the circus. Yeah. And I have pictures somewhere. I have to find them. But there's pictures of me like so happy with clowns. So I guess I got over that fear once I actually like was in contact with clowns at the fucking circus. So what about you?
We might have talked about this briefly in the past. I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But no, I've never been scared of clowns. I never understood the fear of clowns. But I could tell you what, this commercial, 100%. If you're scared of clowns, don't watch it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, you're not.
Warning.
You're not going to
take it. Warning if you're going to go YouTube this, because these are like, not only are these clowns, these are scary, creepy looking clowns.
And the one thing I got to add to this, out of all, like, you know, sometimes when you watch things, it'll remind you of something like okay, like, oh, this looks like Halloween, or this looks like Friday the 13th. I'm just using, you know, just generic shit. But this legitimately looked like It Follows. Like, it looked like, you know, what's his name? What's the director's name? I forgot it.
I forget his name too.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, respect to him. He's a great director, but it reminded me of that. Like, it looked...
No, it does look like it.
And the music, too. Like, the music was very, very, very close to the Disaster Piece score.
Yeah, it must have been influenced by that. Had to have been. I'm guessing, just by the whole vibe.
Well, I think It Follows came out, 2015 or 2016?
I thought it was 2013 or 2014. I forget.
Oh, honestly. It might be. You know what? It might be. Sometimes this stuff
it might have been 2013, 2014.
Me.
Yeah, it might have been around that time. But you definitely can see the inspiration, or the possible inspiration, or whatever was popular at that time that kind of fits that aesthetic.
Oh, definitely.
Now, the second thing I wanted to mention, because there was two things I wanted to mention that pertain to this commercial. The second thing was, this had to have been inspired by those clown sightings that was a thing. Remember that?
Definitely.
When a few years ago, which I honestly think was all... I think most of that clown sighting shit was bullshit. It was people fucking around.
Probably.
Like putting on a clown costume and just kind of being creepy. But this had to have been... That had to have been what inspired this commercial and Burger King to kind of use this as an advertisement. Because I'll be honest, the commercial, very atmospheric, very creepy. Not a lot of, to my recollection, there's not a lot of Halloween. There's no Halloween decorations in it at all, right?
No, but you know what's funny?
Very moody.
It totally feels like it could have been a Halloween night, or like at least a night in October.
Well, yeah, they're offering the Whoppers on Halloween if you're dressed as a clown. So I just find it interesting that they didn't choose. Like, they didn't
decorate, decorate. Yeah,
like, you don't see any of that. So I just thought that was an interesting choice. I guess the clowns being creepy was enough.
It worked. And by the way, it did come out in 2014. It Follows, and David Robert Mitchell. That's his name. I didn't want to disrespect him. He's a great director. So
he is a good director.
Yeah.
Dave, would you have dressed up as a clown and gotten a free Whopper? Would you have done that?
You know what? My mom. If I could find the picture. My mom dressed me up as a weird clown when I was like fucking 2 years old.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 years old.
Would a 2-year-old Dave enjoy a Whopper?
Probably.
I wouldn't have been able to.
Oh, you would have gotten a Beyond Whopper. I'm not sure if they were making them yet, though.
No, I don't think so. So that would have been a huge bummer on my part.
We've waited long enough. Fright Fest is back at Six Flags Great Adventure Theme Park. We've scared up the fun in shows like the all-new Night Creatures with the Crypt Keeper and a bigger and better hayride to the unknown. Plus, all the heart-pounding rides. Ugh. Fright Fest is open every Friday night and all day Saturday and Sunday now through October 29th. So don't just creep in. Hurry. There's so much family fun, the scariest part is missing it. Get these great savings with coupons at participating Pathmark stores.
So my first pick. Now, I think I've talked about my
here we go.
My not I guess I don't my hatred. Hate's a strong word, but like just my I guess what is it? Is distaste a word? Is that a
Sure.
word I could use?
Absolutely.
Of Six Flags Great Adventure Fright Fest. I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before that. I feel like recently in the last decade, the amusement park, specifically not the amusement park itself because the rides are fun. I love the Batman roller coaster and Nitro.
Listen, you cannot go on that Batman ride and not be transported back to when like the 90s was happening and that came out.
I love how that roller coaster has not changed since then.
No, that's the best part about it.
That's the best part. I love how we're on the same page when it comes to Batman the Ride or Batman the roller coaster. It's called Batman the Ride, I think.
It's set up super cool.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. I remember, and I know we're going off on a tangent here. I remember early in that roller coaster's kind of history, or when it first opened up, they had like the Prince music playing in it. They had cop cars with the sirens going off.
Yeah, they had the lights. It looked like part of it was like an industrial area. It was cool.
Access chemicals from the first Batman movie.
It was fucking cool.
And then they had, I think you heard the Joker laughing when you would first get on it, and it would go up incline. You would hear the Joker. I don't remember
that, but that's a good touch if that is the case.
I was young, so I remember that. Actually, I didn't get on that till I was maybe like 14 years old or something like that. But
yeah, I probably didn't get on it till like I was that age too.
I was scared of roller coasters when I was really little, so I didn't get on ones I got on roller coasters, but I didn't get on ones when I was like 8 or 9 or 10 that went upside down. I got on ones that just had little drops. That was it. And then when I got older, I got on upside down ones.
Well, I remember my it was the Loch Ness Monster in Hershey Park. That was my first upside down roller coaster.
Yes,
it only has fucking 2 loops. That's it. But that was my first one. Then I graduated and I went to the Great American Scream Machine. That's not still at Six Flags, is it?
They tore that shit down. Dude,
that's a great title that's such a good title for a fucking roller coaster.
The Bizarro roller coaster? No, because
is it?
Bizarro. No, I forget.
I love that coaster.
The Scream Machine?
But the Bizarro coaster
the Bizarro ones. The Bizarro one's still there. The Bizarro one I think took over for the Cobra or the Snake.
Yeah, it was something. You could see that they repurposed the old decorations for Bizarro.
Yeah, and I think the Scream Machine was either replaced by. I think it's over.
It's over where King Dakar is. That's where it's over in that area. It's like the first roller coaster that you see, I think, when you walk into the. Actually, no, that might not be true. I think the first roller coaster is the one that's inside the cave. What's that one called? Skull Mountain?
Skull Mountain, yeah.
That one's awesome.
That one's cool too. But there's a little Six Flags Great Adventure tangent about the roller coasters. But
these are all going to bring tangents. I mean, it's just the name of the game here.
It's just the name of the game. But yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about Six Flags in a sec after I describe this commercial. But yes, my first pick is a Six Flags Great Adventure Fright Fest commercial from 1995. So, before I get into Fright Fest itself, let me just describe the commercial. So the commercial basically features this very clumsy zombie climbing out of graves in a really cool looking, you can tell it's a faux graveyard. It's a set. You can tell that when you look at the commercial. There's fog.
I wouldn't have it any other way though.
Exactly. And there's blue lights and things like that, just kind of setting up the lighting in the atmosphere. And there's an announcer, typical commercial, creepy voice talking about what the park has to offer. Now, there's a couple of these things that stand out to me in this commercial, and these are more personal opinions of Fright Fest when I first went as a kid, because I went this year. I went in 95 because I went on the Hayride to the Unknown, which was one of the few times Six Flags Great Adventure Fright Fest had a hayride. Usually
I don't remember it having that.
It's one of the few times. They might have done it maybe 2 or 3 times, but I vividly remember going on this hayride to the Unknown, and they're advertising that in this commercial. Another thing I always remember, and this instantly kind of is like a punch of nostalgia, is there's a shot in the commercial of a couple, and this evil-ass scarecrow jumps from behind them and it raises his arms and scares them. Dude, every time I see that one shot, it just takes me back to being a kid and seeing this commercial on TV because Great Adventure was our Six Flags because there's Six Flags all over the U.S.
Because I remember this commercial.
Oh, for sure. Huh. You take your Coke can. Wasn't it buy one, get one free or some shit at Six Flags?
It was always like a discount if you had the soda can.
Yeah.
They still do it, I think.
No, for sure. I think they do. It's way more expensive now, but inflation. It's 2022, not 1995. But one more thing I really liked about this was that the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt had a show that year. And it goes to show you his popularity because my man was at Six Flags and Universal Studios and a few years apart. Universal Studios even used the Crypt Keeper. So I think that's kind of cool how he was so popular that he had different kind of appearances at these theme parks during the Halloween season and during their Halloween events. But what this commercial, what I really like about it, number one, is the silly zombie, him kind of falling back into his grave. When the announcer says the scariest part is missing it, he looks at the camera and does like the whole Home Alone pose and screams into the camera.
He's got like silly makeup. The black line, the black circles under his eyes. And
it's very traditional Night of the Living Dead type zombie. And, he gives the camera a thumbs up while the announcer's talking. We get these great shots of the roller coasters at the theme park. But what I love about it is it just reminds me of how special Six Flags Great Adventure was for Halloween. I still have fun going. I still have a good time because I do like roller coasters, but I feel like Fright Fest over the years has gotten a little lackluster and I went and we actually did a review.
It's like there's like no effort put into it really. It's just like, okay,
it's a money grab.
It's like, right. For like, so I feel like Six Flags is content just having it be decorated for Halloween and like 4 people walking around dressed up monsters or something.
4 people not even attempting to scare you. Boo.
It's not even, listen, I haven't been to a Fright Fest I think I've been to one, but I don't remember it ever being like it is at Dorney Park. Because that shit is wild.
Dorney Park is way better. Dorney, I think it's called Haunt. We've mentioned it on the show.
Yeah, I forgot what it is. It's awesome. Sheila and I went last year and we had a blast. Yeah. So
Tom and I reviewed it like 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago, we reviewed it on the channel. I was there. Yeah, you were there. But I think him and I just reviewed it. Just the two of us reviewed it. We reviewed the event. And if you never watched that, go back.
Go watch it.
It's somewhere on our YouTube channel. Go back. You can watch us kind of review the Halloween Haunt event. And they do it way better, when it comes to it. But it's just a shame because I remember this year going and they had the hayride. It felt like, again, I might just be because of nostalgia and just reminiscing about it. It might have felt better than it actually was. It might have sucked even in 95. But I remember the decorations. They had these like zombies strung up in between trees and you'd walk underneath them. Really cool kind of decorations and really detail oriented when comparing it to what they do now, which is a bunch of fog and some decorations here and there and a couple of scare actors. I just haven't been impressed. Sam, she did a review. This is before I was reviewing stuff. This is in the infancy of Haunted Hangover, before the podcast. We went. That was the last time I went. So I'd say almost 3 years ago at this point. Mm-hmm. About 3.
We were all there.
Probably 3 years ago. And it
was before the pandemic. Yeah. It was 2019.
Yeah, it was before the pandemic. Yes. And I remember Fright Fest, Six Flags just not being fun, just not being a good time. they charge you extra just to go through the haunts. And in 95, they didn't do that. If I remember, you pay one ticket price and you get to go on all the haunted attractions and the roller coasters.
Right.
So it's just, this commercial is both nostalgic and it gives you the warm and fuzzies, but it also is kind of depressing because it's not Fright. It's not.
It ain't the same.
No, it's not the same. It's not the Fright Fest of old to me. Again, in 95, I was a preteen, so maybe it just felt cooler then than it does now, maybe as an adult. And just because I've been to Halloween Horror Nights, I've been to Dorney Park Haunt, I've been to Not Scary Farm, and those places knock Fright Fest. They just knock it out of the water. Like, they knock it out of the park. Like, they fucking they put that event to shame, basically. All
it
those
really
events
does.
And it's sad, but it's true. And I'm hoping in the future, Fright Fest, Six Flags steps it up with the Fright Fest event. Because whenever I watch these old Fright Fest commercials, I just think about how good it used to be. And, maybe I'm being overly critical. Maybe there's people that go and they have a great time, and I'm just a guy that goes to a lot of haunted attractions, so I'm comparing it to stuff I've been to. But I still feel like it needs some work, and they need to step up their game. Come on, Six Flags Great Adventure. Right. Come on, Six Flags.
I want to add something. I want to add something about Dorney Park. I'm going to shamelessly plug myself right now on my photographer side.
Go for it.
I did a zine called Gem, and it's from Dorney Park this past October. If you go on my website, you could see an entire series. I did a physical zine of this. It's all gone, but you could see how it is, because it just happened to be Halloween. So if you're curious, go on my Instagram at Cody Culp, CODYCVLP. Click on my website and look under Gem. You can get a taste of what Dorney Park looks like for Halloween. That's it.
Go to Dave's website, look at the pictures, and then go back in the Haunted Hangover archives on our YouTube channel.
Also, right,
and watch the review that Tom and I did a while ago.
Exactly, that's a great idea. And Haunted Hangover is in my link tree, so you could do it all in one link tree.
Look at us, a bunch of shills hawking our shit.
That's it.
Hey, Joe Bob Briggs here to tell you that Friday nights this summer on TNT, we've got stuff that's scarier than my second ex-wife when she forgets to take her medication. It's called Monster Vision, and the idea here is that we've gathered together some of the greatest doesn't quite cover it. The greatest movies we could get for $20, and I'll be bringing you a double feature every Friday night at 11, which, let's face it, if you're home at that time, then your social life is already pitiful. But I guarantee you watch one of these flicks like The Creeping Unknown or Motel Hell, they might be scary, but they're not near as scary as what you'll find hanging around the bar at Last Call. If you know what I mean.
Just get it over with.
And I think you do.
Watch Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs, Friday at 11 on TNT.
I don't want to have to tell you again.
All right, so my second commercial pick, or ad if you want, is a TNT Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs TV ad from 1996. So let me create a scenario for you here. You are 12 years old. You catch a commercial one night for TNT's Monster Vision. Who's this dude standing in a really cluttered but really fucking cool trailer park with a neon lit TNT sign that looks like it was pulled from a mad scientist lab? Joe Bob Briggs is his name. He's making witty catchphrases like, "We got stuff that's scarier than my second ex-wife when she forgets to take her medication." And they're showing clips of movies like Motel Hell and the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead. You're sold on all of it, and finally, it's Friday night, and you're staying up late. You got soda and snack cakes, and you don't even know it yet, or maybe you do, but it's the perfect setting for any kid with a love for the silly and macabre on a late Friday night. Boom.
Oh, yo, Joe Bob's the man.
It's great. I love seeing him, I love to see him now, but I love to see how young he was when he did all these commercials and stuff. And it's like, this Texan man loves horror movies, and you would never know it by looking at him because he just looks like a fucking cowboy.
There's like nothing spooky about Joe Bob like, as a character.
But this is why I created that scenario. Like, imagine, and I'm pretty sure it's happened to you and it's happened to me. Where
dude, I watch Monster Vision like crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get so fucking pumped up. Like, oh, this guy's right. Like, yo, I can't wait to stay home Friday night. Like, you're fucking 12 years old. Like, what are you doing at, you know what I'm saying? If you're not at a sleepover at your friend's house or just riding your bike or something, this is what you're going to be doing. And especially if your parents don't give a shit. Like, my mom didn't care what I watched.
Yeah.
So
same.
if it was on, like, you were just like, yes. And it's great. It's just that whole cluttered area, like, in front of the trailer. And it's just so awesome. I don't know. It just brought me back.
Dude, Monster Vision, early on, I vividly remember seeing commercials for Monster Vision when I'd watch WCW Nitro sometimes.
Yep.
And that's kind of where I would pick up, like, oh shit, on Friday, Joe Bob, like, the Monster Vision. I didn't associate, like, Joe Bob when I was that young, but it would be like that guy, like, Monster Vision's going to be on it. I remember watching the Friday the 13th movies on that, like, they played a marathon of them. I remember watching, I think, The Fog. One of the first times I had ever seen it was on Monster Vision, or I think it was Monster Vision. It was either that or WPIX Channel 11s, where, like, I saw Creep Show and stuff like that too, and The Exorcist. You know,
what channel was TNT? Was it 17 or that was USA?
I don't remember.
I think USA was 17. I'm trying to figure out what TNT was. It might have been 21. It's also different. I'm in Long Island, you're in Queens, so
yeah,
I know the channels are a little different. But
I remember TNT being really early in the channels, like an earlier number. It was
right?
Like,
it wasn't a late number,
like a channel 3 or something. Like I don't remember. Like it's been so long, but dude, it was a great show. And what I love is Joe Bob has made like a resurgence in the last 4 years, 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing how he's like in his 60s now and he's still doing this shit. And I feel like he's more popular than ever now.
Oh, he definitely is.
Like he's more of a household name now than even 1997 or
Absolutely.
96 or 98, you know, around that time when Monster Vision was on. So it's just crazy to think how, you know, it's so funny. I watched the commercial, your pick, and he still says some of those catchphrases. I think it's like, I forget what he says at the end. Something, and I think you'll agree with me, and I think you will.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know the exact line, but yes.
He says that still, like now when I watch like The Last Drive, because I do watch his show on Shudder, and I love it because it's the same show that he was doing on TNT. They can't call it Monster Vision, but it's the same damn show, and I just love it. And I miss the days when like they had USA Up All Night or Up All Night. Remember that shit? Do you remember that show?
Of course. I do.
So that show and then Monster Vision and all that, and Elvira, which we've talked about Elvira on the show, and things like that. So it's I just love that horror host is like, that's still a thing, and that's what Joe Bob is. He's a horror host, you know what I mean? He's just physically does not look scary or creepy or has any of that aesthetic, and that's what's so great about Joe Bob, honestly.
Listen, TNT was like, okay, I feel like TNT was like the gateway to like all things schlock. Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like TNT was like, once you got into the late night hours of TNT, it was like, okay, let me see what else is on. Let me go to Cinemax now. Woo! And then it's like,
Cinemax,
you know what I'm saying?
After
like
dark, baby.
Like TNT's like the entry level to everything.
Yo, what channel was it? Silk Stockings?
I was just gonna bring that up.
La Femme Nikita, wasn't that one of them too? Yo,
Silk Stockings. Woo! Great show.
And then I think I forget what because there was that one, there was La Femme Nikita, there was a couple of different ones, and they were all. We weren't supposed to be watching those shows.
No, I mean they weren't terrible, like, but they weren't for 12-year-olds.
They were. If you were 13, you were supposed to be 18 and over. Those are not shows aimed at us at all.
It's so funny you said Silk Stalking because I was just about to say it.
Dude, Cinemax After Dark. I remember like I'd fall asleep, and I was a kid. I was like. I didn't know what I wasn't even enjoying it because I was so young at the time. Like, you don't your hormones aren't raging yet. You don't know what the hell's going on. But I remember like I'd watch a movie on TV and you'd fall asleep and wake up and you're like, what the hell is this? And there's like a softcore scene happening on the TV.
When I was
and
a
I'd
kid,
turn it off really quick.
This is what I used to do when I was a kid. I would go in the living room.
Yeah.
And I would take my blanket and a pillow and I'd create like my little corner.
Yeah.
I'd get my boom box and I'd bring like CDs and tapes and I'd set it up. So I'd listen to music and then I would like watch a movie and then I would just stay up all night and just watch whatever fucking wild shit was on. That's what I did.
Yeah. Dave was watching Cinemax After Dark all night long.
I loved it.
That's amazing. Dude, I wonder what the equivalent is for kids nowadays. I guess there's not stuff like that on TV.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Dude, I feel like back in the day there was that. Then like HBO had like Taxi Cab Confessions or whatever.
Taxi Cab Confessions.
And then you had Hookers at the Point. Hookers at the Point, I think we were already in high school with that. I think by the time that came out, I think it was Hookers at the Point.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
We might have mentioned all this on the show in the past. I don't even remember.
Probably.
But yeah, dude, it's kind of crazy how all this stuff was on TV at all hours of the night. It was like after 11 p.m., it was the Wild West.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Crazy times, man.
The world got weird.
Yeah, crazy. It was like Stay Tuned. It was like it turned into a different.
I love that movie.
Like Satan fucking controlled television after 11 p.m. Wild days.
Now, if that's not a reason to scream, what is? Make it a blockbuster, Fright.
So, speaking of wild days, I guess, I don't know if this is a very wild thing, but we've talked about Blockbuster on the show before. Specifically, during a Patreon episode of the podcast, we talked about some Elvira commercials, and I picked a commercial, one of her Blockbuster commercials, and we talked a little bit about how we feel about Blockbuster, and, you know, people rag on Blockbuster. Some people have, you know, nostalgic feels for it because, you know, they'd go there on a Friday night and rent a bunch of movies, horror movies, and bring them home and watch them and do all that stuff. And then some people think that Blockbuster is the reason the mom and pop video store died. I don't agree with that 100% because I remember seeing plenty of mom and pop video stores while Blockbuster was in business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, did Netflix kill Blockbuster? Yes, I agree with that. Netflix did put the fucking kibosh on everything. Like that was basically why Blockbuster went out of business. But I'm in the group that think Blockbuster was a pretty magical place. I wouldn't say they had the greatest horror selection. But if you wanted to rent something but if you wanted to rent something like Sleepaway Camp, you know, especially early in Blockbuster's run, they had stuff like Sleepaway Camp and Motel Hell. You could find Demons, Night of the Demons. You could find some of these gems, you know, on VHS before DVD when there was just VHS tapes on the rack.
You know what rental franchise did have the more obscure shit? Hollywood Video.
See, I never went to Hollywood Video like that. I didn't have one near me. Like I
had one near me.
See, I think the nearest one would have. I feel like they were in Long Island more than Queens. Queens was all Blockbusters.
We also had West Coast Video, and I think West Coast Video might have turned into Hollywood Video. Do not quote me on that.
I don't even remember.
We had West Coast Video, and I have a very vivid memory of seeing that. You know that movie? I think it's called Rollerblade, where it's like a post-apocalyptic world and like everyone's on rollerblades. Mm-hmm. There's like I remember picking the tape up and looking at it. Either way, Hollywood Video did have the more obscure titles. I'm just saying.
You know what's funny? I didn't go to Hollywood Video until it was closing down. And I think I bought some like old VHS
you probably
tapes
did.
from them. Yeah. So like I didn't go there. I didn't rent from Hollywood Video. Blockbuster was, and mom and pop ones were that was like what I went to in my neighborhood. So that was just that was my establishment. So I always see people reference Hollywood Video as well, and I have no nostalgic connection to that franchise because I just didn't go to them. But speaking of VHS tapes, in this commercial, they're hawking these, I guess, Blockbuster. Well, one of them is Blockbuster branded,
Blockbuster edition,
edition horror VHS tapes. And
I avoid them. If they're ever in a sale, I will never buy them.
Well, the one you see a lot specifically is the Night of the Living Dead one and the Halloween one, because they have like the kind of generic screenshot from the movie and then like Blockbuster on the side and creepy red letters and whatever. I actually own the Halloween one. I got it for like $1 years ago.
Of course, it's a cheap tape. It's not an expensive tape.
And it's cool to just have for the cover. Like if you're a completist and you just want to like, hey, I have this Blockbuster branded tape. You're like, it's just cool. It's a cool thing to have from Blockbuster. It's like when you see people now that still own like Blockbuster cases, like a movie in a Blockbuster case.
You just brought up here. Not the other day, I should say about a month and a half ago, I was in my basement and I found I have a whole bunch of tapes in the basement and I was looking through it and I don't know how. I do not know how I still have this. It is Judgment Night. In a rental of Judgment Night in the Blockbuster case and everything.
You held on to it. You never returned that shit.
I don't know how I still have it.
Yo, you were just getting a bunch of late fees. Judgment Night's awesome. But yeah, dude, you were getting a bunch of late fees, and when they went under, they just stopped chasing you down. They were like, whatever.
So I have one.
Yeah. So in the commercial itself, it's just kind of a bunch of clips from Halloween, Friday the 13th, Rosemary's Baby, and strangely enough, Scooby-Doo. It's crazy how they kind of put all these movies together and then a children's cartoon. It's one of the few times you'll see like Michael Myers in a shot and then Shaggy and Scooby running around.
They were just trying to sell They were just trying to sell some Halloween shit. That's what they were doing.
Oh, for sure. And I love that. That's honestly my favorite thing about it is the fact that they were hawking horror films, violent ones, because they have Friday the 13th in that bunch and Rosemary's Baby, which is that's a film you watch a little later in life. Rosemary's Baby is not one you watch when you're 10. You want to watch Halloween and Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just funny how I feel like they were almost pushing this on kids. Like, hey, instead of watching Scooby-Doo Saves the Whatever, watch Friday the 13th. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this commercial was telling you. And I also love, there's a shot of the tapes. And it's got that low to the ground fog, kind of dry ice. That's probably what they used at low at the bottom of the tapes. And then these dead plants. And then you've got the creepy voiceover guy kind of selling them. And this commercial does a fantastic job at selling these tapes. And I love the price. That's what I got a big kick out of. You can buy each tape for $7.99 or rent them each for $3.99. So I was like, okay. Now, what's funny about that is when you think about it, you could just buy the movie for $4 more. Like, why just rent it for a day or two for $4 plus tax? They didn't add tax, obviously, to this. When you could just buy it. I find that so interesting. And that's probably why these tapes are so readily available on the second market, like on eBay and things like that. They were
probably mass-produced, honestly. Blockbuster was such a huge company. They probably mass-produced them.
There's so many of them. I'm sure there was so many of them. And the Friday the 13th one looks like the regular Paramount cover.
It's the regular cover, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't think they did anything special with that one, which I find interesting that they didn't change that cover. But I'm pretty sure the rest of them, even Rosemary's Baby, I think it's like just her face. It's not.
It's a regular.
It's not the green one.
I think it's the carriage cover. I thought it was. I could be wrong.
Maybe I didn't look at it properly. But yeah, I just love how this was an advertisement for like Halloween, and I'm pretty sure. Because I have the Halloween one. When you watch that tape, this advertisement is on that tape.
Yeah, probably got some Blockbuster branding on the tape too.
So
absolutely.
You could they're kind of pushing the tapes on you during the Halloween season because they want you to rent these movies. And I will say it's a decent selection. Friday the 13th, Halloween, Rosemary's Baby, and Night of the Living Dead. Those four movies are great. And then you got one for the kiddies there, a little Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Sure,
you know?
Why not?
You know what I mean? And then the tagline's probably my favorite thing. Make it a blockbuster fright. Mm-hmm. Very hokey, very 90s, but I love it.
We love Blockbuster. We're on Team Blockbuster.
Team Blockbuster, Haunted Hangover.
Team BB.
Yo,
Team BB.
Team BB. You guys that are shitting on Blockbuster on Twitter.
Next.
Thanks, Dave. That's exactly what I got to say.
Yep.
This Halloween, you could be in for some real entertainment with Roundtree's Video Vampire. You could win a Panasonic giant screen television, video cassette recorder, and the use of 100 movies. Details are on all Roundtree Halloween packs of Coffee Crisp, Smarties, Aero, and Kit Kat. Roundtree's Video Vampire Halloween Contest. Now that's something to know about.
All right. My third and final pick for this spooky season is from a company that is originally based out of the UK called Roundtree. And this is Roundtree Video Vampire Halloween ad from 1983, the year I was born. So I believe Roundtree commercials aired in Canada. And here's a fun fact. Roundtree is the original creator of the Kit Kat candy bar.
Oh, wow.
So this company, I thought that was very interesting. This company sure knows how to make a Halloween ad. We have brooding synth music, insanely cool 80s computer graphics. Did I mention there's a literal video vampire with laser eyes illuminating a lonesome house? It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's illuminating a whole house. It's like a ranch. Like there's just one house on like a hill. Not only that, but this ad is for a Halloween contest, and you can win a giant screen television, a VCR, use of 100 movies. I think that means movie rentals. I don't know what that meant, but they said
that's what it is.
Use of 100 movies and candy.
Ambiguous.
Yeah. But what's better than that on a late Halloween night? I mean, honestly, like, it's what a contest to win. And I'm telling you, if you've never seen this, I've never heard of this. I was watching this. I watched this like 5 or 6 times. Google Video Vampire. It's so fucking cool. Like, the whole visual of it is cool.
Yeah, dude, everything about this. And there's no, except for maybe the pictures of the candy itself, there's no, like, shot footage. It's all digital. I guess it's digital. All digital. Whatever
it is.
The 83
it's all CGI, if you want to call it that.
I guess in 83, I don't know what they used to kind of create this, like, vampire. And then, like, the candy looks like real pictures of the candy. Mm-hmm. And that fact you hit me with, like you hit us with, the listeners and me, because I didn't know that. I'm assuming that's why they're able to brand the candy the way they did. Vampire. It's like vamp candy. What is it called again?
Video Vampire.
Video Vampire. But that's what
it's a cool name too.
They branded the candy that, right?
Well, yeah, the packaging has Video Vampire.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they were able to take, I guess, these candies and just rebrand them for this promo, because I'm guessing that's the only time they did it was during the Halloween season, right? Yeah. To have this vampire, and the commercial, dude, everything about this just oozes Halloween. Just all the visuals.
They nailed it.
Great pick. I never, and I guess maybe because it's more of a rural Canada thing. It's not in the US.
This was not here.
I've never seen this commercial. Never ever seen this commercial. So I just love that you picked it. And I never hear anyone talk about it.
This is something that's never brought up. So
never brought up. And I guess that's why, because if you're not Canadian, there's probably
how would you know it?
You know, if you weren't around in 83, how the hell would you know what the hell this is? You know, and kind of just it has no nostalgic impact on us for that reason, you know. But
yeah, it's something. Yeah, it's really cool. You have to Google it. If you're not familiar, Google it. You're gonna love it.
Calling all Dream Warriors. Think you're brave enough to face Freddy? Well, now you can put your nightmare knowledge to the test and win money, or a chance to be in A Nightmare on Elm Street 6. Just pick up your telephone and dial 1-900-860-4FRED, and you can challenge Freddy Krueger in the ultimate trivia game.
So speaking of contest, Nice little segue there. I mean,
there
unintentionally.
Hey,
2 picks.
what can I say?
2 picks were contest, I guess, related. My next pick, and what I call this one is the 1-900-860-4-FRED.
Classic.
It's a Freddy trivia contest commercial that aired. Now, I'm going to be discussing 2 commercials specifically because the link that I saw features 2 of them.
Right.
Now, what the commercial is a fully produced, basic low budget, you can tell, commercial. They actually got actors for this.
I don't even think it was that low budget. I feel like they definitely had a budget to do this.
A budget, nothing huge though, when compared to like
Right.
the Nightmare on Elm Street films. But the first one, so I'm kind of cheating here because I picked 2 commercials, but they're connected in the same kind of.
I mean, it's almost like almost like a continuation. But yeah, go ahead.
And so the first one is basically you've got this teenage kid. And his mom comes in because he's watching TV, and she's like, "You're lazy. Why don't you do your homework?" Blah, blah, blah. And he kind of brushes her off.
Can I say something about the mom? The mom is like, that was a thing in the 80s and like 90s where like commercials that had to do with that were like geared towards kids. They made like the parents so unlikable or annoying or like, oh, we don't need parents. Like this mom is so annoying and cartoony, you know?
She almost looks like a grandma, not even a mom, which is odd. I was like, because even the kid, he looks like a grown-ass man in the commercial. He does not look
He's like fucking 22 years old.
He's like 30 playing 17. It makes no sense. But yeah, so the kid he's sitting on the couch, and who shows up on the TV? Freddy Krueger.
My man.
He's talking all kinds of shit, and I'm gonna go into what this contest is, but I'm trying to set the commercial. The kid's floating around in really bad CG, like green screen CGI, and they just kind of superimpose clips from the movie, and he's in front of them, obviously in front of a green screen. And the Freddy Krueger in this commercial is not Robert Englund. It's someone
What's the
else.
actor's name? It says it. It said it. I forgot the actor's name.
I didn't write it in my notes, but yeah, it's somebody else. And it's not Robert Englund, which I love that it's not Robert Englund, but the guy does a pretty good job.
Yeah, it didn't bother me at all.
At first, I was like, I had to like double take it. Like, is that Robert Englund? But no, it's obviously not when you really look at it.
Right.
But what I love about this commercial, and that's the first one, because they each commercial they offer you different prizes. So the first commercial, you can win either $100 a day or $10,000 grand prize. That's what they say in the commercial. If you beat Freddy, right, at trivia.
Right.
I want to know how this worked. Like, was Freddy just on the line talking to you? Like they had someone pretending to be Freddy,
absolutely,
saying the questions, and then if you get it right, like, you know what I mean, you win or whatever.
Right.
But that's one of the prizes. The second prize is the second
prize is amazing,
and that's where I'm a little confused. I'm guessing that's the main big prize is you win a chance to appear in a role in a Nightmare on Elm Street 6. Now, at this point, I'm assuming they did not know what the name of the movie was because that's Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare.
Right.
But this is probably so early in production that they had no clue what the hell the 6th one was. So I love how it's the only time you can see a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6 because that's not actually in the advertisement for Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare. They never call it a Nightmare on Elm Street 6. That's what I really like about these commercials, too.
We need to find out now if someone actually did win and was in Freddy's Dead. Like, who was in Freddy's Dead that, you know...
I would have to follow up and kind of Google this and look through the comments because I'll be honest, I didn't look through it because we were covering, like, you know, it's just us covering 6 commercials, so I kind of just covered the commercial itself. So I am curious if anyone actually won. Now, there's the second commercial. The setup for the second commercial is the mom She's watching TV this time.
It's like a continuation. That's what I got from it. Yeah.
It is a continuation. And the son is in the TV screaming, and Freddy's got a hold of him. And like, same spiel. They're telling you the rules of how to win, and it's trivia. And
what was it? Freddy. $1 for the first minute and $2 each additional minute to make sure you get your parents' permission.
Of course, that's the best part, is that you have to get your parents' permission to call Freddy. And I don't want people to get confused with because there was actually a Freddy Krueger hotline, but that's a separate thing that I'm sure we'll cover in a future episode of Halloween commercials. But the prizes in the second commercial, the first prize is you win David Miller, who's the special effects guy, I'm assuming, in A Nightmare on Elm Street.
This is a great prize.
Yeah, I'm guessing he was the dude in part 5 because part 6 hadn't happened yet, or maybe he was working on part 6 and he was doing the Freddy Krueger makeup effects.
Right.
He'll come to your house on Halloween and transform you into Freddy.
And give you $5,000.
And give you $5,000. That's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal prize.
Fucking great.
I want to see the picture of the kid that won.
Won that, absolutely.
In full Freddy Krueger makeup. That sounds fucking amazing. That sounds like probably, like, honestly, I'd rather that than appearing in the movie.
Absolutely.
Personally.
100%.
Now, there was a smaller prize that they tell you about in this commercial, and that is, I guess, daily winners get a copy of Nightmare on Elm Street, the game, on NES, which...
It's not a bad, dude, that's not a bad prize either. Nope.
I remember seeing these commercials on TV as a kid and being fucking scared of them. So these aired between 89 and 90, is what I got in the little research I did on them. So I was really young at the time. I was like 4 or 5 years old. So I remember seeing them on daytime TV and just being like, why is this scary man? Like, what is this? Being so intrigued by it, you know, and just like seeing Freddy Krueger during the day. That's how popular he was during the day on TV, just like scaring people and offering prizes. Like, he was Barney at this point, you know what I mean? Like, he was such a popular pop culture character. And, you know, we covered his, again, to hawk more shit. We're just hawking everything on this episode of the podcast. A few months ago, we covered Freddy Krueger's MTV special. And it just shows you, even 1989, 1990, he was still popular. Like, they were still pushing, you know, different things featuring this character on kids. This was aimed at children, at teenagers. Why?
Because he was so prominent. The whole everything Freddy Krueger was, you know, there was a craze.
Yeah, and to me, it's kind of like, just to think at one point, and I'm sure I said this when on our Patreon episode about the Freddy MTV special. It's just always crazy to me to think that he was that popular. He had toys. He had, you know, board games. He had video games. He had all that stuff where, like, nowadays you see, you know, the Marvel characters, Thor, Captain America, they have all this merch. Stranger Things has all this merch. But you understand that Freddy Krueger was like Captain America and Iron Man in 1988. So it's fucking wild, dude. It's fucking wild.
And if you think about it, the Nightmare on Elm Street series is not like a light series. It's dark.
Oh, it's super dark.
It's violent.
It's really bleak.
So the fact that this stuff was so commercialized, it tells you something.
Yeah, and you could see, dude, I remember seeing this commercial in the middle of the day. I'm home, daytime television, and I remember watching Pee-wee's Playhouse, and this shit popped up on TV. Every time I watch it, it takes me back to being really young and seeing it on television. Now, I want to take a few seconds now and talk about because they mentioned it in the commercial, the Nightmare on Elm Street NES game. Do you vividly remember that game?
I don't. I actually don't. Dude. I don't think I had it.
Dude, I have a copy. I have a copy of that and Friday the 13th on the NES, and I don't think we've ever talked about. I remember
very vividly.
You remember that one more? Yo, dude.
Yeah.
The Nightmare on Elm Street NES game does not get as much love as it deserves, because like it gets, I think now people appreciate it for the nostalgia. Like you see t-shirts and toys themed around the colors that Freddy was in. Like in the game, Freddy's basically all orange. He's like, you see the stripes and stuff, but he's just completely orange character in the game. But dude, the game, like, go on YouTube and just watch a playthrough of the game. Dude, it was so detailed. Like in the game, you can fall asleep and you can only wake yourself up when you walk past a boombox. And in the dream world, dude, in the dream world, I recently did this. I like watched a walkthrough of it. In the dream world, you have powers like Dream Master and Dream Warriors. You could be a ninja. You could be like a wizard, like the Wizard Master. So like,
that's awesome.
It's crazy. And then if you drink a cup of coffee, there's like coffee sitting like on every map. There's coffees, and it's a side scroller. If you hit that, your sleep meter goes down, because if your sleep meter, gets full, you fall into the
I gotta watch this walkthrough. This sounds great.
And sometimes I forget that the game was that detailed, and you fight Freddy's glove, you fight his head, you fight a ghost Freddy, you fight, like, it's kind of crazy. And then at the very end, you fight
all iterations of Freddy Krueger. At
the very end, you fight Freddy, like a full-bodied Freddy, after you refight all the other like body parts that you go against.
That's amazing.
Dude, sometimes I'm like, wow, as a kid, you didn't appreciate it. And people are like, this is a really hard game, because it was when you're young. But in reality, dude, it's really close to the film. Like, they did the film series justice with this game.
I'm going to watch a walkthrough when we're done.
Oh, dude, it's fucking great. It's just great to see how detailed it was. And the same goes for the Friday the 13th NES game. I won't go into that right now, because maybe in the future we'll talk about it.
It was so fucking hard.
Dude, that game was so goddamn hard. They both were hard. Nightmare on Elm Street was hard too. But like, dude, I just love how well they made these games. As difficult as they were, they did a great job. And then this commercial, just to kind of go back to this, I love how this commercial is giving kids copies of the game because the game was new at the time. So that's just
a hell of a prize. It's not a bad prize. So you're winning either way.
Yo, dude, turn me into Freddy or give me a copy of the NES game. Like Little Louie. Adult Louie wants the 10 G's. But Little Louie wants the game and to be turned into Freddy Krueger. So
that's fair.
That would be my mindset if I won this contest.
Call 1-900-860-FRED to challenge Freddy Krueger in the ultimate trivia game. And if you win, we'll throw you the Halloween party of your life where you can be Freddy.
All right, bud. So just to kind of close out, I want us each to pick usually we have a guest when we do this, but we don't have a guest this year on the commercials, the Halloween commercials episode. So we're just going to do that. I want to see out of my 3 commercials, which one I
like the best.
And then I'll pick one of yours. So out of my 3 commercials,
this is a very easy answer.
Which one is it and why?
The Freddy Krueger one.
All right, good. Why?
I mean, just because it's just, hotlines were a thing. Yeah. And it's very much a product of its time. And just the idea of having a trivia line and like being a kid and being like, "Hey mom, okay, I'm gonna make a call to this number and I'm gonna face Freddy in a trivia game, okay? So you're gonna have to give me $2 every minute, all right?" Like I can just like picture myself doing that, It's just, and it's silly. It's so tongue in cheek. Like the mom is so, so caricatured. She's just got like a fucking like shower cap on and like heavy eye makeup, and she's making all these zany faces, and it's great.
Yeah, dude. I am curious how long you'd have to stay on the line for this contest and how expensive the bill would turn out at the end of it. It's probably
that's why they had a fucking $5,000 prize.
All the money they're giving to you just goes right into the phone bill, right?
There's some fucking mad kids calling that fucking Freddy line.
Oh my god, dude. Your mom probably be tight with you. Like, that Freddy hotline was $75 for that one goddamn call.
Fuck out of here.
I'm going with the Burger King clown commercial.
Yeah? Okay.
Just because as a filmmaker myself, I can appreciate the work that went into that commercial. Even though it's regional, and they kind of played New York and didn't include us in the whole Whopper giveaway if you dress as a clown.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'll let that slide. The commercial itself is just really well done and really well made, and just kind of how much effort Burger King put into this ad for something that's very specific. Like, only a couple of places allowed this. You know?
Right, it wasn't, I don't know why they did that, but hey.
Yeah, like, just
I guess every person probably would have dressed up as a clown to get a free fucking cheeseburger, so. Someone
would have went in there with just a red nose and would have been like, hey,
absolutely.
I'm a clown. I want a Whopper. So, but I appreciate just the effort that went into that commercial and how much work. It looks like work went into it.
Oh, definitely. Let's do something that I don't think we've ever done. Let's each pick our own favorite out of the three. So I can tell you right now, my favorite out of the three that I chose was the video vampire one.
That was a good one.
That's my favorite one out of the three.
Let me think. My favorite out of the three, to think about it, let's see. Honestly, it's a toss-up between Six Flags Great Adventure, because that commercial brings the feels, even though Great Adventure leaves a sour taste in my mouth now with Fright Fest, or the Freddy Krueger trivia giveaway. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Freddy Krueger trivia giveaway. That's the right choice, because it just the effort, similar to the clown commercial, just the effort put into this commercial for something so silly. Fucking giveaway, a trivia giveaway, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so much work went into this dumb commercial. They could have easily just slapped together a bunch of clips and a voiceover, but they put in extra work.
They made like a world. They made another Freddy Krueger world.
There's a narrative in these commercials. So I gotta appreciate that and show that commercial a little extra love for the Halloween season. And just to close out right here, I'd recommend going on YouTube and quickly, you can find these all just by Googling simple things.
Very easy to find.
Yeah, all of them you can find and watch them this Halloween season and just check them out, because they'll definitely get you in that spooky mood.
I was just going to say, they're going to get you in the mood.
They'll give you those spooky, nostalgic Halloween feels, which we say a lot on the podcast. I say it a ton, but that's what they do. That's what it's all about here, especially when we cover Halloween commercials.
Still need a few pointers? Well, listen up, lunch meat.
So that was Halloween commercials, part 3. Be sure to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Haunted Hangover, and be sure to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/HauntedHangover31.
And if you can rate and review us, that would be greatly appreciated.
And remember, the best cure for a hangover is
more booze.
Catch you guys later.